Hi guys, welcome to another popular logo redesign edition. My name is Xavier and I'm glad you could join. If you're watching this video for the first time or you've not subscribed at all, kindly do well to subscribe right now and turn on post notifications so you don't miss subsequent videos that will be dropping on my YouTube. Today's video is going to be centered on today's tutorial. Basically, is going to be centered on how we can recreate this popular logo. This logo needs no introduction. This is the Beats by Dre logo, right? And I hear there is a font for it. I think the font is called a Beats by Kai. I'm not mistaken. It looks like a very simple logo to do, but you know, the simplest logos are usually the hardest to come up. They are usually the ones with the hardest concept, like to think of. But I always say, and like a lot of other designers before me have said, always keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. Try to think of a very simple way to capture what you want to capture, the essence of what a business stands for, the essence of what a brand is. And if you can do that, rest assured, I think your designs are going to come out great. Now, one of the things I like about this logo is the fact that it's not just a circle with a B inside. It's actually like in hindsight, it's actually a head, right, listening to music, right, over the headphones. So you can see that the B there is like the headphone and the circle is like the head, right? So it's like a side view of a person listening to music, enjoying, having that experience. So the logo here sells the experience that you have when you are actually using a Beats by Dre. I'm not trying to market for these guys, right? So the first thing you want to do if you're trying to recreate a logo like this is to break it down. Like I always say, break down the logo in your head or the design in your head and see how you can generate it. And for those of us that are just joining, the essence of this series is to help you master a couple of techniques in CorelDRAW that you can use to recreate some logos, and also you can apply it to your own personal creativity and designs if you're trying to do something. So we are going to look at how we can create this logo. As usual, I always look out for the simplest way I can achieve it, and without wasting much time, let's go into it. So the first thing I'd like to do is to create a new page. You can see we are on page 1 right now. I've named my document Beats by Dre logo. So I'm going to create a new page by clicking on the plus sign here, and there we have another page. So we are going to go back to the page 1 and look at the logo again. Now, a couple of things I want to mention at this point is designing a logo or creating a logo is as simple as you conceive, right? Can also be a difficult and tasking thing, but the most important thing, like I said, is to have a good brief from your client, and the rest of it is all on you. Now, this logo has, since I'm not going to be using the B from Beats by Kai, I don't even have the font. So what I'm going to be doing is we are going to be recreating everything, right? And in that case, what you want to look out for is what are the shapes, the simplest of shapes that could generate this logo for me if I wanted to create it. And if you look very closely at the logo, you notice that there are a couple of circles, right? Some people will say we have 3 circles. Some will say we have 2. Some will even go as far as saying we only have 1. But I think we have, if you ask me, it could be 3, it could be 2. You're not wrong. But for us that we're going to be recreating this, I think we are going to be using just 2 circles, and then a line, right? So let's see how we can generate this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a circle myself. So I'm selecting my ellipse tool here, and you draw a circle. While you're drawing this circle, if you want it to be a perfect circle, you hold down your control. As you hold down control, it's going to draw a perfect circle. From the properties bar, while the circle is selected, that the width and the height, they are measuring up to the same thing, right? So we have the same size. Pardon the background noise. So with this circle, we have to create another circle. If you look at it from here, you notice that we have 2 circles or more, but we're going to just use 2. So we're going to create another circle. So select the one you created initially, press Ctrl C, and then do Ctrl V. Now, CorelDRAW, when you copy an object, it copies not just the object but also the position. So when you're pasting, it pastes it in the same position again. So right now we've done the Ctrl C and V, which means we've copied and we've pasted. So we've pasted it right directly on top of the old shape. So we need to reduce the size of the circle. So grab one of the corners Note that I said the corners because if you want to scale an object down or up, you have to hold it by the corners. In CorelDRAW, it takes those handles very, very serious. If you grab it from the cardinal points, north, east, west, south, it's going to size the object, and that is not what we want, right? So we want to scale the object, so you have to grab it by the corners. So hold this place, any of the corners could be here, and then move it inside. But while you're moving it, hold down shift, and you notice that it moves it in uniformly, right, from all corners. And then if you get to a point you like, you stop. So I think I'm going to stop here. And that is just about the first step for us in generating this logo. We've actually created 2 circles. Now right now I need to introduce a third shape. Now I did not mention this, but I am going to be using outlines to create this, mostly the B inside, mostly because outlines kind of like have the same, when you give them thickness, they kind of like maintain the same kind of thickness, so it's easier to work with an outline than to create this logo, and we're going to see why. So now that we've created this circle inside of it, and it's actually at the center, we don't need to align it to the center anymore. We will create a line. For us to create a line, we have to go to our freehand tool, select the freehand tool, and click somewhere at the top here, and just drag, move, release your mouse, and move your hands down, then hold your shift to make it straight, to lock it, to constrain it to a straight line, and then just click somewhere, and there you have a straight line. Now the combination of this straight line and the circle is going to give us the B that we have in page 1, right? So you can see what we are trying to do here. So there is something we need to do though at this point, and what we need to do is we need to line up this line on the edge, at the left edge of this circle, to really make the B look like a B. So select the line, hold shift, then select the smaller circle. That means you selected both of them, and press L, or you go to your object and go to align and distribute and say align left. Now the line is going to align to the circle because you selected the line first, so it means that you are performing the action with the line. So when you want to align in CorelDRAW, the object you select first is the one you're aligning. So when you select it first and hold shift and select another object, you're actually aligning it to the other object you selected. So take note of that. So I've aligned the line, this vertical line, to the left edge of this circle, right? But you can see it's still jutting out like very, very bad. We don't want this. We want it to end somewhere around the center so it doesn't extend, because the logo, the Beats logo, is actually a very smooth B, right? You don't see the edge of the eye of the line coming out from the bottom here, and that is what we want to maintain. So we want to make sure that this thing goes in. Now, but before we do that, go to our properties bar, not on the properties bar, go to the standard bar, which is like the second bar or the second line from the top, and you would notice there is something called snap off. Mine is actually active. That is the reason why I'm mentioning it. So my snapping option is off, so I want to turn it on. So I'll disable the off by clicking on this. If yours is on, you can leave it, and if yours is on, you might want to check all the options that are actually allowed to snap. So you click here, and right now the only option is to allow objects to snap to each other. You could as well line up, you could actually check everything, even if you don't understand them. Just check document grid, baseline grid, guidelines, objects, and page. Now what this thing does for us, it enables an object to snap to other objects. When you're moving or creating new objects or whatever it is you're doing, it will tell you, oh, you're at the edge of this other object, you might want to slow down. You are the center of this object, you might want to slow down. So I want to grab this line, and I want to grab this inner line, this line, and then I want to move it. See, it's showing me node, so I want to move it till I get to the center or the quadrant. You see that quadrant, and then I stop. Quadrant is actually the center from the left or the right, from the sides, right? So it's where if you divide an object from the quadrant, a circle from the quadrant, you're actually dividing it from the center, So that quadrant is actually the position where we want to have this. So you can see now that having the line, if you snap it off, let's snap it off, you wouldn't see those notifications. It wouldn't tell you quadrant, it won't tell you anything. So you cannot really get where you're going to leave it or you're going to snap it to. Do you get my point? So that is the reason why we actually enable the snap option. So without the snap option, if you get to an edge, it won't tell you that you're at the edge of any object. It will not give you hints, and it will not help you snap to that place. That is the reason why I actually had it. I actually had the snap option to be active, right? So now that I've done this, I don't really think I need the snap anymore, so I can turn it off, or you can still leave it. But then you know what it does now, so you could turn it off, or you could turn it on. So right now, you select this object and select this circle. You notice that both of them are actually just lines, right? A circle is a line. This one is also a line. It's an outline. So because both of them are outlines, we go to the properties bar and we increase the outlines together. And what we are trying to do is to make it as thick as what we have here in page 1. So we select both, select this one, hold shift, select this one, and then on the outline you see that both of them are like 0.5 points thick, right? So you could just bump it up a little bit. Let's try 10 or 12. So yeah, 12 is nice. I think this one is a bit thicker, but we are not really trying to match it for thickness. We're just trying to achieve it. So 12 is okay. If you feel that 12 is not okay, you could still bump it up a bit. Let's say 14. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at 14. So right now we've actually increased the thickness, so you can see that the outlines is actually matching the letter here, the B here, right? It's matching it. So that is like one thing we want to do, but we are not going to leave it as an outline, because when you're creating a logo, it's not always good to have fields and outlines, relating with each other. Sometimes it's nice or necessary that you convert all the outlines to fields or to objects, so there is no outline at all in design. That way, if you want to change the color, it's easier, it's simpler for you to change the color. It's always good to keep it simple. Now, that is what I'll just say about that. So select the lines, the circle and the line. Select both of them together, holding shift. You select the first one, you hold shift, you select the second one. Now we are going to convert the outlines, because right now what we have here is an outline of 14 points. We're going to convert it to an object, a fill object, so that we can actually just pour colors in it and do some other things with it easily. And also we are going to use this for shaping, which is something we're going to do later. So go to your objects menu. There is a shortcut for it, but let's just go to the object menu and come down, and you're going to see convert outline to objects. That is what we want to do, and the shortcut is Ctrl+Shift+Q, right? So convert outline to object. So if you click on that, the outline is no longer an outline but now an object, right? So everything is now an object with a fill, that's a surface, right? So if you look at the outline on the properties bar, you see it says none, which means there is no outline on it anymore but just a fill. So at this point that you filled it, we want to combine both of them together. We want to combine the line and the circle together. So while they are still selected, just go to the properties bar and locate your weld tool and click on weld, and it will just become one object. So if I move this, notice how they are moving together, because they are now combined or welded as one object. So if you look here, you see we have pretty much achieved most of the logo, right? So you can see this. So the next thing is just to change the color. I could use my eyedropper and just pick the color from here and go to page 2 and apply on this. And then for this one, we could change it to white, right? And for this circle here, we could remove the outline. If you notice, there's an outline around it, like a black outline. So we could remove it. We could select this and then go to the properties and change the outline from 0.5 points and say none. And this one is no longer, this one is just a fill, so it doesn't have an outline, right? You can add an outline, but we don't need it. Now, someone might say, the logo is completed, but it's actually not completed, because if we change the color to, let's say, black, you will notice that it's actually popping out from the B, which is not supposed to be so. It's supposed to end where the B ends, so the whole thing becomes one good logo, right? So how do we do that? Well, there are a couple of ways we can do that, but what I would suggest for us to do here is I'll suggest a negative space design. I don't know much about the Beats by Dre logo, but I want to believe that this B here is a negative space design. Point me out in the comment section if I'm wrong, but this place is a negative space design, which means if they place this logo on a black background, the area where the B is actually going to turn black. So that means that this place is actually empty. It's like a cutout area, right? So it's a cutout area. So if you select this, we can do that. We can do two things here. We can decide to not cut it out by just trimming off. We can decide to not cut it out by trimming off this excess area, or we can decide to just cut out this area from the circle and have the logo. We are going to do both. Now let's do the first one. If we want to have the B just within the circle area, then we need to do what we call an intersection. We need to generate just the area that falls within the circle. So we'll select the B first, hold shift and select the circle. Then it's very easy. You go to your properties bar and you locate what we call the intersect, right? The intersect is the third tool from the shaping tools. And what the intersect tool does is it helps you generate a new shape from where two or more shapes overlap. So if you click on the intersect, it will generate a new shape. If I drag it out, you see that it generates a new shape for us. So, and the intersect tool, the way it works is when you're generating that new shape, the shape it generates is usually, for example, if you select this one first and hold shift and select the circle, when it generates the shape is going to have the property of the circle because you're using this to generate the red, right? So in this case now, we could delete this and then we might think nothing is there, but there's actually a shape there that has been generated. All we need to do is change the color. So if you want it to be the other way around, let's undo this. Let's undo all this. So if you want it to be the other way around, if you want to generate a black text, this B, you have to select the red circle first, hold shift and select this, which means you're using the red circle to intersect the B, right? So if you intersect it, the shape you're going to, if you delete the original B, just select the one at the top and delete it. The shape you're going to generate is, you see that, the black B, right? So with this, you could just select this and change the color to white, and voila, see that we are done for the logo. That is the first thing, that's the first style, like I mentioned, that we could do. So I could just say Control C, and I could undo this. So if you do something like this, you could group it and you're done actually for the logo. That is the first step. But another thing you can do is you can decide to take out this area, like I said, like a negative space, right? So you can just decide to remove this whole area, this entire area, and have it empty. And for us to do that, all we need to do is, let's just go back a bit. Let's do Control Z to have the shape, Control Z. So yeah. So with this one, select this one, hold shift, and we select this one. Now this particular option I'm going to use under shaping it doesn't matter which one you select first. What matters is what shape is in front and what shape is behind, right? So it's called the front minus back or the back minus front. Both of them are just lined up under the same shaping tools towards the end. So the first one we have here is this one is called back minus front, right? So what this means is that you're going to remove the front object from the back object, and the back object in this case is the red circle, right? Because the front object is the object you see in front. So if you look at both of them, you notice that the B is actually in front of the circle, right? The black B is in front of the circle. So we want to keep the back shape minus the front shape. And if we are minusing the front shape or subtracting the front shape, everywhere that the front shape also touches the back shape is also going to be cut off or chopped off. So it's going to be chopped off as well. So if we do back minus front, click on this, it takes away the B, but it also takes away the areas that the B touches the front shape and the back shape. So it takes away all the front shape and also the areas it touches the back shape. So what we are left with is just a circle that has been trimmed out, like some parts of it has been trimmed out. And this is exactly what a negatively spaced logo looks like. So let's say you introduce a background, for example, let's say you put a box here and make the box like black, You could send it behind by doing shift page down, or you could go to object, order, and say to back of layer. Now, do you notice what happens when you send it behind? The circle where the B is supposed to be is actually black. This is what the negative space looks like. For the other one we have, which is this one, I copied it, so I just pasted it right now. You see the difference. This one has everything. There's a white text, there's a B there, like a white text B on top of a circle. But for this one, we only have the circle with a trimmed out area, right? So that's the difference between the both of them. This one, let's say if you wanted to change the color of the B, you would have to change it manually. But for this one, it will always take the color of the background because it's a negative area. That's a Beats by Dre logo. If you found this video helpful, do well to drop a like and comment, and you could also request for a particular popular logo you'd like me to redesign. I'm always open to your comments, and I'm always looking forward to your comments, to seeing your comments, and be sure I'm going to interact and also reply you.